नमस्कार मैत्रिणींनो. कालच्या तासाला आपण ग्रॅव्हिटेशन याबद्दल माहिती घेतली. नाव टुडे वी आर गोइंग टू सी अबाउट सर आयझॅक न्यूटन. Sir Isaac Newton, born in 1642 and died in 1727. Introduction to scientist. Great scientist Sir Isaac Newton. He was one of the greatest scientists of recent times. He was born in England. He gave his laws of motion, equations of motion, and theory of gravity in his book Principia. Before this book was written, Kepler had given 3 laws describing planetary motions. However, the reason why planets move in the way described by Kepler's laws was not known. Newton, with his theory of gravity, mathematically derived Kepler's laws. In addition to this, Newton did groundbreaking work in several areas including light, heat, sound, and mathematics. He invented a new branch of mathematics. This is called calculus and has wide-ranging applications in physics and mathematics. He was the first scientist to construct a reflecting telescope. Friends, as we know, Sir Isaac Newton was one of the greatest scientists of recent times. He gave his laws of motion, equations of motion, and theory of gravity in his book Principia. Sir Isaac Newton यांनी त्यांच्या पुस्तकाचं नाव आहे प्रिन्सिपिया. या पुस्तकामध्ये लॉज ऑफ मोशन, इक्वेशन्स ऑफ मोशन अँड थेअरी ऑफ ग्रॅव्हिटी हे मांडलेलं आहे. त्यांच्या पुस्तकाच्या आधी केपलर, त्यांच्याबद्दल आपल्याला पुढे माहिती घ्यायची आहे. केपलर यांनी 3 नियम मांडले होते डिस्क्रायबिंग प्लॅनेटरी मोशन्स. ग्रहांची लंबवर्तुळाकार गती याबद्दल केपलर यांनी नियम मांडले होते. पण त्या नियमांना त्यांचं वर्णन जर कुणी केलं असेल तर ते आहेत सर न्यूटन. आणि सर न्यूटन यांनी त्यांच्या थेअरी ऑफ ग्रॅव्हिटी यामुळे केपलर यांचे नियम सिद्ध केले आहेत. सर न्यूटन यांनी प्रकाश, उष्णता, ध्वनी आणि गणित याबद्दल बरेचसं काम केलं आहे. आणि त्यांच्याचमुळे एक नवीन शाखा निर्माण झाली, कॅल्क्युलस. आणि त्या शाखेला फिजिक्स आणि मॅथमॅटिक्स या दोन्ही शास्त्रांमध्ये खूप महत्त्व आहे. ही वॉज द फर्स्ट सायंटिस्ट टू कन्स्ट्रक्ट अ रिफ्लेक्टिंग टेलिस्कोप. रिफ्लेक्टिंग टेलिस्कोप तयार करणारे ते पहिले शास्त्रज्ञ होते. वरची जर तुम्ही आकृती बघितली तर तुम्हाला त्याच्यामध्ये दिसेल. यानंतर आपल्याला बघायचं आहे सर्क्युलर मोशन अँड सेंट्रिपेटल फोर्स. Circular motion and centripetal force. Try this. Tie a stone to one end of a string. Take the other end in your hand and rotate the string so that the stone moves along a circle as shown in figure 1.2a. Look at the figure 1.2a. A girl in her hand she has a stone tying to one end of a string. Are you applying any force on the stone? In which direction is this force acting? How will you stop this force from acting? What will be the effect on the stone? As long as we are holding the string, we are pulling the stone towards us. That is towards the center of the circle. And the applying force and are applying a force towards it. We are holding the string, we are pulling the stone towards us. Means the force is towards the center of the circle and applying a force towards it. The force stops acting if we release the string. The force stops acting if we release the string. In this case, the stone will fly off along a straight line which is the tangent to the circle at the position of the stone when the string is released. Because that is the direction of its velocity at that instant of time. In figure 1.2b, you can see the direction of the releasing stone. It is the tangent to the circle at the position of the stone when the string is released. You may recall that we have performed a similar activity previously in which a 5 rupee coin kept on a rotating circular disc flies off the disc along the tangent to the disc. Thus, a force acts on any object moving along a circle and it is directed towards the center of the circle. मैत्रिणींनो, आपण हा एक्सपेरिमेंट करून बघितलाय की एखाद्या रोटेटिंग सर्क्युलर डिस्कवर जर 5 रुपये कॉइन आपण जर ठेवला तर काही काळाने तो 5 रुपीचा कॉइन जो आहे तो त्या डिस्कच्या टँजंटच्या दिशेने बाहेर फेकला जातो. लहानपणी खेळत असताना आपण पंख्यावर वगैरे जर एखादी वस्तू आपली गेली तर आपण काय करायचो, पंख्याचं बटन सुरू करायचो आणि जसा पंखा फिरेल त्या वस्तूलाही गती प्राप्त व्हायची आणि ती त्याच्या टँजंटच्या दिशेने फेकली जायची. बऱ्याच वेळेला लहानपणी आपण असं करून पाहिलेलं आहे. Thus, a force acts on any object moving along a circle and it is directed towards the center of the circle. This is called the centripetal force. आणि याच फोर्सला काय म्हणतात, सेंट्रिपेटल फोर्स. सेंट्रिपेटल means center seeking. That is, the object tries to go towards the center of the circle because of this force. याचा सेंट्रिपेटल फोर्स म्हणजेच काय की ते जे ऑब्जेक्ट आहे ते त्या सेंटरच्या दिशेने जायचा प्रयत्न करतं. You know that the moon, which is the natural satellite of the earth, goes round it in a definite orbit. The direction of motion of the moon as well as its speed constantly changes during this motion. Do you think some force is constantly acting on the moon? What must be the direction of this force? How would its motion have been if no such force acted on it? बघा, the direction of motion of the moon as well as its speed constantly changes during this motion. आपल्याला माहिती आहे की चंद्राची दिशा आणि चंद्राची गती ही कॉन्स्टंटली बदलत असते. Do you think some force is constantly acting on the moon? What must be the direction of this force? From above activity, example and questions, it is clear that for the moon to go around the earth, there must be a force which is exerted on the moon, and this force must be exerted by the earth, which attracts the moon towards itself. Similarly, the sun must be attracting the planets, including the earth, towards itself. आपण वर जी काही उदाहरणं बघितली त्याच्यावरून आपल्याला असं लक्षात येतं की मूनवर पण कोणतं तरी फोर्स आहे आणि तो फोर्स कोणाकडनं एक्झर्ट केला जातो? अर्थकडनं. अर्थ विच अट्रॅक्ट्स द मून टुवर्ड्स इटसेल्फ. अर्थ ही मूनला स्वतःकडे अट्रॅक्ट करत असते. ऑल्सो सिमिलरली द सन मस्ट बी अट्रॅक्टिंग द प्लॅनेट्स इन्क्लुडिंग द अर्थ. सन सुद्धा प्लॅनेट्सना आपल्याकडे अट्रॅक्ट करत असतो. नाव केप्लर्स लॉज. आपण याआधीच बघितलं की सर न्यूटन यांच्या आधी सुद्धा केप्लर यांनी ही थेरी मांडली होती. हे 3 लॉज मांडले होते, पण मॅथमॅटिकली ते प्रूव्ह करू शकले नव्हते. पण सर न्यूटन यांनी मॅथमॅटिकली ते प्रूव्ह केले. Planetary motion had been observed by astronomers since ancient times. Before Galileo, all observations of the planets' positions were made with naked eyes. By the 16th century, a lot of data were available about planetary positions and motion. Johannes Kepler studied these data. He noticed that the motion of planets follows certain laws. He stated 3 laws describing planetary motion. These are known as Kepler's laws, which are given below. पण केप्लर्स लॉज शिकण्याच्या आधी आपल्याला इलिप्टिकल मोशन आणि इलिप्टिकल पाथ काय आहे ते एकदा आपण अभ्यासू. डू यू नो an ellipse is the curve obtained when a cone is cut by an inclined plane. बघा, तुम्हाला फिगरमध्ये एक कॅरेट दिसतंय. कॅरेटचा शेप कोणता असतो? कोन. आणि कोन शेप्ड कॅरेट जर आपण मध्ये कट केलं तर तुम्हाला बघा इलिप्टिकल कर्व ऑब्टेन होते. इट हॅज 2 फोकल पॉइंट्स. From every point of the curve, look at here. F1 and F2 are 2 focal points of the ellipse. F1 and F2. If A, B and C, if A, B and C are 3 points on the ellipse, then AF1 plus AF2 is equal to BF1 plus BF2 is equal to CF1 plus CF2. Kepler's first law. The orbit of a planet is an ellipse with the sun at one of the foci. Figure 1.4 shows the elliptical orbit of a planet revolving around the sun. the position of the sun is indicated by us. In 1.4, this is sun, planet. Now Kepler's second law. The line joining the planet and the sun sweeps areas in equal intervals of time. AB and CD are distances covered by the planet in equal time. That is, after equal intervals of time, the positions of the planet starting of A and C are shown by B and D. The line joining the planet and the sun sweeps equal areas in equal intervals of time. This is the second Kepler's law. Now the straight lines AS and CS sweep equal area in equal interval of time, that is area ASB and CSD are equal. Kepler's third law. The square of its period of revolution around the sun is directly proportional to the cube of the mean distance of a planet from the sun. The square of its period of revolution around the sun is directly proportional to the cube of the mean distance of a planet from the sun. Thus, if r is the average distance of the planet from the sun and t is its period of revolution, then t square is directly proportional to r cube. That is, we know directly proportional means their ratio is constant. Therefore, t square upon r cube is equal to constant and it is denoted as k. Kepler obtained these laws simply from the study of the positions of the planets obtained by regular observations. He had no explanation as to why planets obey these laws. We will see below how these laws helped Newton in the formulation of his theory of gravitation. In the next period, we will see how this law helped Newton in the formulation of his theory of gravitation. Now write down Kepler's 3 laws in classwork.